Hi rock stars, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you a day trip idea that includes visiting some of the most beautiful villages in the UK and one really wonderful and historically important city. So we went on this day road trip with our friends, hence there is not much talking going on from my side during the video, so I'm doing yet another voiceover. But I'm hoping to improve in the future videos because voiceovers have just been a little bit too much. So let's start with the first location, Salisbury. So it took us around 2 hours to drive to Salisbury from North London. It was not too bad at all. It was Sunday morning, so the traffic wasn't too bad. We parked in the city centre. I mean, you can park pretty much everywhere because Salisbury isn't too big, but we chose the parking that was probably the closest to the old town where we are at the moment. It's really, really beautiful, and this street has a lot of historical buildings, and it leads all the way to the famous Salisbury Cathedral. So we actually decided to visit the cathedral, and we paid £10 per person. Interestingly, the tickets are valid for the entire year. So if you decide to revisit a cathedral within that year when you bought the ticket, you are welcome to do that. You just need to take a picture of your ticket and then you just show it again at the till. You can also buy tickets online, and that will be a little bit cheaper. So tickets on the day cost £10 per person, tickets bought online cost £9 per person. Everybody also gets a small leaflet where you can see kind of all the most important things that are located within the cathedral outlined in this leaflet. So here's a leaflet. I actually recommend taking it because it was very important. So for example, we didn't know that Salisbury Cathedral is over 800 years old. Obviously we knew it was very old, but didn't know that it was that old. And also the fact that it holds the oldest working mechanical clock in the world. You just saw it on the screen. And it is also home to arguably one of the most important documents in the history of England, the Magna Carta. So that's not Magna Carta. I will show you Magna Carta a little bit later. Here it is. It's not allowed to take pictures of it, but basically, if you don't know much about Magna Carta, this was a document that was accepted in the beginning of the 13th century, and it basically limited the power of the monarchy, and it's often considered to be kind of the birth document of democracy. So after viewing the cathedral, we went for a little walk around Salisbury. It's really beautiful, has a lot of green spaces, and it was time for us to head to our next destination. So our next destination was actually Shaftesbury, but just before going there, we decided to stop for a lunch, kind of late lunch in a pub. The pub is called the Forester Inn. I found it on the Michelin Guide in the UK. It doesn't have a Michelin star, but it is mentioned there as a gastropub with a really, really good cuisine. And I have to agree with it. It was good. Cannot say it was the best pub I've ever visited, but everything was really good. It looked cozy. It was a 17th century building, a very lovely thatched cottage. So it's definitely a good place to stop at before going to Shaftesbury. So Shaftesbury, I'm actually not 100% sure how do you guys pronounce it, because everybody I know pronounces it in a different way because there are so many accents, but it's actually gorgeous. It's a very, very small village. It's often named as one, if not the most beautiful village in the entire England, and it's mainly because of its gorgeous gold hill. So let me just show it to you in its full glory. In total, we spent around maybe 30 or 40 minutes in Shaftesbury. It was a small village, as I mentioned before, and it was Sunday evening, so everything was closed. We couldn't pop in for a coffee or tea. So we headed to the next destination, a beautiful village called Lacock. So Lacock is actually much closer to Cotswolds than it is to Salisbury. But we decided to go there anyways, just because it's such a nice location and I've heard so much about it. Again, I saw it so many times on the lists of the most beautiful villages in the UK. And guys, I must agree with that because it looks absolutely stunning. It actually looks like a real life movie set. And here are all the significant buildings that are in Lacock. Unfortunately, we couldn't go to the Abbey, which is the main landmark, because it was already closed. You could have seen it. It was a little bit far in the previous video clip. But nonetheless, we enjoyed Lacock by just walking around this kind of movie set architecture, I'd say, because it was really beautiful. Lacock was a filming location for a lot of famous movies and TV series like Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the Downton Abbey, and many more. You can see that most of the houses are really old, but they are so well taken care of that they look almost artificial. And if you're a huge Harry Potter fan, you might be able to recognize that building that is there in the far. Oops, here it is closer. Could you guess which building is it? I'll give you a couple of seconds. So this building actually was featured as the home of Lily and James Potter. There are a couple of more Harry Potter locations in the village, for example, the Slughorn house, which I will show you a little bit later. But we decided to interrupt our sightseeing a little bit and went to the place called the Sign of an Angel. And it was a very beautiful, again, gastropub. And I actually ended up liking it a bit more than the Forester Inn. At least I think the presentation was even nicer and I liked the food a little bit more. After that, we went for a little walk and explored some other parts of Lacock. Surprisingly, there was a lot to see, a lot more than in Shaftesbury. And yeah, again, it didn't disappoint because it was stunning. Oh yeah, here you can see the Slughorn house. Probably only the most hardcore Harry Potter fans would recognize it, but here it is. I would probably recommend visiting it on Saturday, maybe earlier, maybe swapping Shaftesbury and Lacock, or maybe starting with Lacock and then going to Salisbury and then Shaftesbury, or going to Lacock first and then to Shaftesbury and then Salisbury, just because I think it would be totally worth visiting Lacock Abbey as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video and got some ideas on some day trips in England. I think this would be a really good day trip idea, especially in summer when days are longer, you have a lot of daylight and you are actually able to see a lot of different villages and a lot of different places in one trip. Thanks a lot guys for watching this video and see you in the next videos. Bye bye!